Okay, so thanks guys so much for taking part in another Twine Hangout. It's awesome to have so many talented people from all over the world sharing your stories, sharing your advice on music production, collaboration, the music industry. So I really appreciate you guys taking time out. Hopefully we'll see you in future ones next week. You're always welcome to be part of this, so please whenever you're available, be involved in this. It'd be great to have you part of it. Just before we start, I just want to make a short pause to remember John Berry, founder of the Beastie Boys, who died yesterday, aged 52.
Wow.
So just wanted to say, he's obviously he was a genius and is in our thoughts. So I just wanted to take a quick moment to pause to reflect on that.
Another member of the Beastie Boys died?
Yeah, the founding member, John Berry. So check out his work. See, he was an amazing figure and was very influential, amazing, absolute genius. So check out his work.
Yeah, he's a visionary.
Anyway, so Twine is a network that brings creatives together and breaks down geographical boundaries to help you find awesome collaborations and paid work. So if you've not checked it out, get on there. There are amazing opportunities posted up every week. We have Calvin just a few weeks ago worked with a rapper from Tanzania on a project. There's amazing global stuff happening all the time. So if you've not checked it out, go on twine.fm or check out our apps on iPhone and iPad to see what we do. But I'd just like to start by introducing everyone. So Chazz Goodwin is a submission agent for Hugo the Boss promo, A&R for Sony Music, and associate A&R for SSMG, and also works in A&R for Mob Out Entertainment, WJR Radio, and World Star Radio. And then we have Bishop, who's the founder and CEO of Mob Out Entertainment, as well as a talented artist in his own right. And then we also have Chisenga Katonga, who's a multi-award-winning, Grammy-recognized hip-hop artist. So it's a great pleasure to have you on the call for the first time. Thanks so much for taking part. And then we've also got Greg, who's currently muted, but he's a hip-hop producer and beat maker from London, so it's great to have him involved. And Calvin from last week, who's become a bit of a Twine all-star, but also is a talented producer doing all sorts of genres. He's got a full kitted out service studio in Houston, Texas, and is also part of the awesome, he's a bass player in the awesome group Third Class, so check him out. And then also we've got Johan Vegna, who's a professional mixing engineer from Sweden. So thank you very much. It's his first time in the call. And my name's Joe Scarf, and I'm the community and marketing manager at Twine. So welcome, guys. Thanks very much for taking part. And let's crack on. So today I wanted to focus mainly on features and mixtapes, and also talk a little bit about remix competition. But I was listening earlier to Cocaine's feature on Dre's famous album 2001. I was just wondering about how rappers go about landing features like that, because for him, that really, that exploded his career. He really took off. So my first question to Bishop is, how do you land your first major feature? What do? Do you just draw up a list of artists that inspire you and just try and get contacts, or what would you recommend to someone who's just starting out and they want to land their first major feature?
Reach out. Reach out is one of the main things I can say. There's a lot of DJs out there that are looking for artists. And make sure that you have good music, though, something that has some substance to it before you go out there and just try to put it out there, I guess. Me, I've done a lot of features. I've been featured on a lot of mixtapes. But it's all in the motivation and the drive of the artist himself. So, and I also put mixtapes out to help other artists as well. I've got 2 mixtapes that are dropping. One this weekend. This is the ladies first because I do things for the female MCs as well. They need a voice. And I have another one, Well Connected, that'll be dropping sometime next week. So the features is not hard to do. You just got to get out there. That's it.
Great. Chisenga, what would your advice be? How do you land, that feature or work with that artist that sets your career going?
I mean, I think sometimes it's just about being in the right place at the right time. I remember when I was in the States, I was in Ohio, and I happened to be at this studio, and a friend called me and he said, "Hey, Lil Flip is in town, so do you want to do a collabo?" And then Lil Flip and I ended up collaborating on a song, and it took us about 2 hours to get the song done. And also just creating a buzz, networking is key.
So true.
What do you mean by that? Actually going out in person and meeting people, or like online, or what would you say for you has been the best networking tool?
I think that the best networking is, I haven't collaborated with Curtis Young yet, but we built our relationship online. And for those that don't know, Curtis Young is Dr. Dre's son, who happens to be a friend of mine. We haven't done a collaboration together. We've done a concert together. I met DJ Yella through him, and later on, I just recently, this past March, I met the DOC because I'm a big Dr. Dre fan. I'm a big Dr. Dre fan. It's funny you're talking about cocaine. And I spoke to Cocaine some years back. We were talking about a collaboration, but that was so long ago. The money he was asking for by then, to me, was colossal. But he was a nice dude, yeah. He was talking about God a lot, but he wouldn't do it for free.
That's brilliant. Love it.
Yeah, I just talked to Cocaine this past Wednesday. We just interviewed him actually on our show. So we've got some things in the works. We're talking behind the scenes. So there's a possible collab. There's a possible collab coming up.
Wow, that's really exciting. He's an absolute legend. So.
And, my man mentioned Curtis Young. His manager is my boss. So.
Oh right, nice.
For real?
Yeah. Tiffany Gaines.
Yeah, I know Tiffany.
Yeah, that's my boss.
No way. When I was
yes, sir.
Hard.
So, yeah, I just wanted to, in terms of talking about features, just want to talk about obviously money. I mean, in terms of features, there are 2 extremes really. There are artists like, for example, Drake has been accused of being a bit of a con man by some for bringing up underground artist tracks and then sort of using their exposure to drive his career. Do you think that's a bad thing, taking someone else's work and then just through your own fame, riding the waves of that? Calvin, what do you think?
I'm glad you gave that to me. I was twitching. Honestly, it's business. We forget that music is not just craft. There's a bigger part of it. There's energy behind it. Just to piggyback on the last question, the first thing that came to mind was circle and influence. No matter what genre, we talk about hip hop a lot, but no matter what genre, you're either an influence to somebody else or your styles, there might be a mutual respect for each other's craft. That could be one way you can gain a feature. But for Dre, he knows that all these producers have audiences. And to stay afloat, sometimes you need to go underground, overground, underground, overground. You need to collect as many people as possible because businesses don't stay afloat by sitting in the studio on your own trying to make music. It just doesn't work like that. Everything's done through collaboration.
I agree.
Yeah, totally agree. And what about you, DJ Overflow? Do you agree with that? What's your take on this?
Yeah, I think I agree with it. As a DJ and an artist, I've used a lot of it to be able to get where I'm at today. So I cherish those features. I cherish those platforms because I get an opportunity to get in front of a new audience and an audience that they've worked hard for, and be able to also do what I do on the tables. And it's actually part of my success is that. Part of my success is collaborating with other artists, getting on their platform, and working together. It's just the way to do it.
Right.
Tell them how you made your career.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, really, at the end of the day, I've been on national tours. I've been on 2 national tours with I would say the second biggest Christian label, which is Collision Records, and these guys are doing amazing work. So I've been able to get on their platforms, and then now their audience are following me and supporting what I'm doing. But at the same time, I think a lot of people forget, man. I'm very grateful, and I make that known to all the artists, and I make it known publicly as well. I think features are great, and also getting on other people's platforms. And let's not forget to give credit where credit is due, and give honor where honor is due. With that, so, but yeah, man, my career had been, I grew through that, man, just getting on other people's platforms, giving my all, giving my best. You know, I've been on 2 national tours. I've been on BET Music Matters out in New York with Frontline Reconcile, artist named Reconcile, and it's all been just the relationship.
3 times in a row.
Yeah. I won best DJ.
3 times in a row, bro.
Yeah, won best DJ back-to-back 3 times in a row in the past 3 years. So it's
Nice.
amazing. Yeah.
Nice.
Well done. That's an amazing achievement. I think just talking about relationships, I just wanted to ask about when's that moment when, as a rap artist, you can start increasing your prices? I mean, I'm just thinking, as a producer myself, I always find it difficult to know, you know, when's the time to think that you're at that kind of next level of pricing yourself. Chisenga, what would you say? When do you think, as an artist, you can start? How do you know when your value is that much more and you can charge more for the projects you work on?
I mean, just looking at what everybody's done, and you know, look at artists like David Banner, Pharrell Williams, and everybody else, Dr. Dre, whatever. I mean, Dre's been doing it for a long time, so I'm not even going to go there. But a lot of people base their price on, you know, the buzz that they're getting, the accolades. Because another thing is, you don't get money for getting a Grammy. You don't get money for being Grammy recognized. I mean, I have 1 album that's Grammy recognized, thank God. But you know, one of the things that does, the recognition and award nominations, what they do is they kind of raise your profile, put your face in front of people, because once you get nominated and, you know, you get awards or whatever's going on, that kind of puts your face in front of people, and it makes it, it's like you're making a statement through a vessel. And that kind of helps you say, okay, you know what, you've got a certain level of professionalism, and if you achieve that, you can certainly help other people walk that path. So that's what I think.
Right, but then maybe on the extreme of that, there is the issue of, like, I remember Kanye West tweeted in 2012 that 2 Chainz was charging $100K for a verse, and
Yeah.
Lil Wayne once said he would only do $100K per feature, and he wouldn't do it for $75K even for his sister. So I mean, it gets, yeah, I know, man. Yeah, that's a burn, right? But
Is it safe to say that there's a and I'm just kind of thinking out loud here? Is it safe to say that artists could go up on price depending on the supply and demand? Is it safe to say that?
Yeah, that's another factor. Yeah.
But the question is, how do you know when the demand is there for you to increase those prices, and you
when your email's getting hit up by everybody else, and they want to
Basically. Basically.
So it's how much people are chasing you down.
Right.
But do you think it, Chazz, do you think it devalues the industry that people are demanding 100K for a verse? I mean, how can an artist be worth 100K for a verse?
You don't really want to hear my truthful reply on that one, but
let the world know. Let the world know.
I'll be nice there, FOS. But anyway, if you know. You know what the FOS means, but I do think the artists that should, after they get some recognition and some notoriety in the industry, yes, they should raise their prices a little bit, because I mean, you got to eat, you got family, you got bills, house payments, whatever. And I mean, you come out and you put up your money, hard-earned money, to get into the deal. And once you're known and somebody else wants to collab with you, of course, you can make out a deal between you and the person you're collaborating with.
Right.
To, of course, I'm on your CD this time, you be on mine next time, and we split the profits, something like that. But if I came to you and said, hey, Joe, I want you to be on my next CD, and you say, okay, it's going to cost you $100,000. I'm going to say, click.
Yeah. Right. So in a way, it's just like business. I mean, it's the price that you value yourself at sets the market for everyone else around you, right? And so I suppose that's the reason why people put these crazy figures up.
Right.
Also, it's not just the artists, right? I mean, they've got management costs, there's record label costs,
right?
There's loads of other stuff. But then I suppose that there is this thing called swapping, right? Where artists will quite often, say, you scratch my back, do this album, I'll do yours next time. I suppose the only problem with that is that once a rapper's signed to a contract, they're not technically supposed to actually make a record for another company, because the label still owns the master recordings, so that can be a bit of an issue.
Depending on the contract as well, too. Though.
That's correct.
It can be if it's non-exclusive, then hey, cool. But if it's exclusive, then yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's why it's really important to know your stuff, because you don't want to get exploited. Yeah, no, totally. I just wanted to move away from that a bit onto features from the kind of technical side. And I just wanted to ask Joe, sorry if you waiting a while to get in, I wanted to just focus on the mixing angle with you and just ask, if you're working with a rap artist who has a very distinctive, unique sound due to the producer they work with or just their own sound, how do you stay faithful to that? If you're not the engineer or producer who normally works with them, how do you bring out that character if you're not used to having them in the studio?
It's hard. I usually listen to stuff they've done previously, so I have sort of a path to go. So I know how they sounded earlier, but then. Even if I have my sound on my mixes, everyone does. So it's not gonna sound exactly like the stuff that they've done before. Because whether I want it or not, I will set my mark on it. But I think at the end of the day, it's about communication.
Exactly.
I mean, I'll do a mix where I think this is the best way to go, or this is where I would take it. But then you have to talk back and forth, and I almost always make changes from my first draft. And then we can come together and unite over a sound. So communication.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it there, because I think it's all about having an end goal in mind when you start the project. That's
right.
the thing. And something I just wanted to ask Calvin was, you know, if you've got, let's say, as a hypothetical, you've got DMX or Exhibit, you know, and their wonderful kind of raspy sound, or you've got Snoop Dogg, or you've got Q-Tip with their more kind of like wonderful sort of nasal quality of their sound. As a producer, how do you emphasize those qualities? Is it all to do with just being really dialed in with the EQ, or, you know, how do you do it?
Well, I mean, for Johan and myself, the studio is our instrument. The microphones are our instrument, and also so is the internet. We spend so much time in pre-production for a reason. It's important to, yes, know what they did in past works, find out what their favorite mics are, their favorite vocal chain is. Also, you know, find out why they come to you, because, like Johan said, it's very hard not to have a uniqueness to your production, because it's your ears. Remember, I'm part scientist and part engineer, and part artist. So, you know, somebody was coming to, if DMX came to me, firstly, I want to know why he came to me and not somebody else he worked with where he had past success. He's come to me for a reason. So, I mean, you know, but at the same time, you know, I spent so much time, probably almost more time in pre-production than actual production. And Overflow knows this, because we're working together on like 3 different albums, 4 different projects with different people. And you know, I've got notes galore. It's all over my MacBook Pros. I scribble things down. You know, I'm always listening to people's music. He sent me I think I'm doing a mix with him. We were just talking about it last night, and he just said, "Yep, very close. Here's a reference track." And that's my last point. Reference tracks is so important, man. I need to know what your desire is. Look at the key aspects of what you like. Bring your production, make something a little unique, and then my flavor comes in there and naturally in there.
Right. And how about...
That makes sense.
Quite often, Joe, producers, I mean, I found myself that you get sent, you know, vocals that have been recorded in artists' bedrooms, bathrooms, any kind of crazy space. What's your advice for cleaning up horrible recordings and getting them sound crystal clear?
I mean, that's pretty much what I do. Yeah, you know, going to mix a song, there can be 2 hours of cleaning stuff.
Yes.
And then there's 1 hour of mixing, and then there's 10 hours of making revisions and drafts.
Right.
So, my take on that is record the best you possibly can, and then it's up to me to clean it up the best way I can, because hopefully I'm better at it than our artist.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and just yesterday I got a song with 12 vocal tracks, and his smoke detector is running low on batteries. So there's a beep.
Oh.
I've had to do some of those before too, by the way.
That's 2 hours.
Yeah.
Just cleaning that up.
Wow.
I mean, that's part of the job, I guess.
Wow.
So what do you use for a job like that? Do you use Isotope, what's it called, RX cleaner, or what do you use?
No, I go old school. I just cut and paste, and try to find ways. And sometimes you have to record stuff because it's just too bad.
Please tell me you got paid.
Yeah.
Extra. Yeah.
It's funny about tools. I worked with an artist, and you know, it's kind of links to an earlier question about when you should charge and when you're not charged. I took on, it's foolish of me, I took on a project and I didn't hear the track. He told me what it wanted to sound like, I know I needed the money that week. You know, go keep the lights, right? And oh my goodness, it was the most. The pitches were all over the place. Like he was doing some crazy modulation with his voice.
Been there, brother.
I must have spent maybe 16 hours just on the vocal alone. Yeah.
Yep.
Just alone. But you know, to be honest, I'm grateful for it because sometimes it's these challenges. 80% of the stuff that I get now is coming from bedroom studios.
Wow.
Right.
So you've got to be nifty at it. There are key frequencies that an engineer will go straight to remove the room out of the mic. When it comes to hip hop, it's a little easier than say working in working with a band, working in the garage or garage as you guys call it. Every single microphone before you can start to get that the sound that you're looking for to make it sound quality. Right. There are little tricks around it, but this is where it's all science more than it is art. But you want to get through the science part before you get to the art part where you start to make it come alive.
Yeah. Chisanka, what's your view on this? What tools do you use, and have you got stories about terrible recordings you've had to clean up?
I use the Waves bundle, Waves Mercury.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah.
And that's really, and for many years I've been using Adobe Audition.
Yeah.
To master my I use plugins, but I use, I might export stuff into Adobe Audition, clean it up, but I rarely ever have that problem. But for starters, I would say Waves Mercury bundles got some great plugins to clean vocals, remove the hiss, remove clicks, whatever it is, and it does a great job. As opposed to some old plugins where you try to clean up the hiss and the vocals go funny and,
You've been there too, huh?
Yeah.
Been there, done.
Yeah. We all have good old de-essing plugins. Yeah, nightmare. And
the only thing that I'm trying to figure out is how to work on, I like to use my NT1A Rode mic. Yeah. Which is coincidentally made in Australia, and this is where I am right now. I'm from Africa, by the way, from a country called Zambia. And sometimes I get vocals from different artists, and we're collaborating, and you can actually tell the difference. And I'm just trying to figure out how to get the balance. I think that because we're all, with our ears to the music, and we might be sounding, maybe we notice the difference more than the listeners do. And I've kind of told myself that as a consolation that, I'm listening from a producer's point of view, and I'm in production, so maybe that's the reason why I can notice the big difference, but otherwise listeners don't really get to notice the difference.
That's correct.
Do you think that's really true though? Because I think they might not be able to describe what it is in the sound that they can recognize, but I think if you showed them, Snoop or Dre or anyone, and then you showed them someone doing it in a completely different way, like obviously that they know the character of the sound of the recordings they love, right?
Right.
I don't know.
But the biggest deal I've seen is it all depends on the fan of the artist. So the fan of the artist, they can pick out every little miss, something wrong. That doesn't sound right. Somebody made a copy of this, or whatever. Yeah. I've seen that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we live in an HD world, so everyone's been exposed to quality over time. But I think I was listening to Johan's music. I think I think you can relate to what I'm saying here. Sometimes you have to know the audience, the purpose of where the music is going.
Right.
I was working with an artist. He was a Twine member. Can't think of his name. He's all into lo-fi music, so he wanted analog stuff, which is great. It means that go into out of the box and start using saturation, which is awesome, and also some creative plugins that can give me the saturation which I needed. But it's, you know, this is again good pre-production, good you know, conversations, communication is key, because you know you can. Yeah, sometimes people want to hear quirks, they want to hear the minor, you know, they want to hear, but it really does depend on the audience. With hip hop, you know, a lot of it more kind of mainstream, especially trap. You know, maybe people don't want to hear the vinyl granular sound these days. But I've been trying to introduce it. You know, I've been using Overflow's got some granular vinyl sounds in his music, which has been exciting to do.
Awesome.
But you know, I think it's horses for courses, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The final thing I wanted to talk about is the age-old debate of album versus mixtape. So these days, in my opinion, the separation between albums and mixtapes has become really slight, because you can get top-quality mixtapes now with A-list features on it, and you know, just loads of money thrown behind it. In my view, it's much more about the business angle. And the way I see it is that albums are about shifting units and about just trying to sell copies, whereas mixtapes are about trying to grow a fan base and get your followers.
Yep. Yeah, you're correct there.
So my question to Bishop is, do you think mixtapes are better suited to the modern music industry than albums?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. People aren't buying albums anymore. They're buying more singles than albums. So I really suggest that people just don't even make albums anymore. Just put out an EP with 5 or 6 good songs. I mean, what's the point of wasting your time making an album? You know, unless you're obligated by a contract with the company that you have to do an album. But
that's
correct. We're living in a singles world right now, so yeah. But jump on as many mixtapes as possible and put out as many mixtapes as possible with different features. I mean, it's not only helping yourself, but it's also helping all the other artists that are on the mixtape as well. So get everybody the exposure. Everybody shine together.
Can I add something to that?
Not that expensive quality though.
Yeah.
Can I add something to that? So there's an artist by the name of Lecrae. And he put in 3 mixtapes, which is called Church Clothes. And we know that the industry has changed to streaming. You know, everything has gone streaming now. Yeah. So if you really think about it, he dropped 3 mixtapes, but in between those mixtapes, he also did an album. So if you really think about it, his mixtapes were definitely free, but also on the back end, he was able to streamline them on Spotify, Pandora. So he's still getting income from that mixtape while streaming it. So I think, you know, it kind of you can kind of go both ways. You can give a free mixtape for your audience to continue to gain your audience, but at the same time, you can still also capitalize on that mixtape via those streaming sites.
Right.
This is true.
Chizz, what's your view? Do you work much with mixtapes, or do you work pretty much only with albums? And what's your view on the whole mixtape album debate?
I think that I'm more the EP type, you know, EP singles and just creating a buzz. Sometimes I test my music with the audiences when I perform. Like, I got a show next week on the 26th of May, which is the day before my birthday. What up? And,
happy birthday.
Party time.
Happy birthday, yeah.
Plug.
Give me all the money.
So for you, it's all about EPs and singles.
Yeah, I mean, the way I work, more EP singles, and I just go with the buzz that's, you know, whatever's working, and yeah. Mixtapes, I'm actually working on a, it's kind of like a mixtape, but the way I'm doing it is I'm going back to the roots of hip-hop and just doing a lot of sampling and breaking a lot of rules. And yeah, because
I love it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I love that.
We'd love to hear it. Send us a link.
Yeah, you have to break the rules every now and then, you know. You really do.
Yeah. Put on the Twine.
Yeah, because I've been playing by the rules, and I decided I was going to do something different and just see what happens. But when you talk about mixtapes, I mean, Rick Ross has become notorious for dropping high-quality mixtapes that sound like albums. I mean, you know, what was the joint that he's got his face looking like it's in concrete or whatever? What was that first joint that he did?
Oh, man.
Not sure.
Yeah, I'm not a big follower of Rick Ross.
Yeah, and then he just had something else dropped before his new album, which was a mixtape, but it sounds like a solid album. Matter of fact, when Billboard was writing about it, they were saying that, you know, they couldn't figure out why it sounds so solid like an album, and they're like, you know, this is where music is going. Listen to Chance the Rapper. He just dropped a mixtape, and
the mixtape is the mixtape is called Rich
That's
Forever.
right.
Yeah,
cool.
Exactly. Rich Forever. That's a mixtape. But I've seen artists that couldn't drop an album that strong. You know what I mean? So yeah, the line's getting blurred right now.
And Joe, what are you seeing in terms of the work that's coming through to you? Is it EPs, singles, mixtapes, albums?
No, it's singles. I'm actually working on a album with a Swedish rock band, but that's the first album in years. It's all about singles now, singles and EPs with 3-4 songs. And the reason we're doing an album is just in the rock genre. Having an album is kind of showing that you're I guess it's about status. If you want to win the Swedish version of the Grammys, you have to have an album. So the reason we're doing an album is it's more for fun. And from an album of 10 songs, we're releasing 2 or 3 singles. I would say it's all about singles and EPs.
And
I like to say something to add on to what he just said, because I have a friend of mine that has a rock band in South Carolina, and they're all about making albums. As far as, like, you know, when you're a band, it's more about making albums than it is about putting out singles, and that's the difference between the genres of music. As far as being like, when you're a hip hop artist like myself, you know, we want to do more singles and EPs, because doing an album to us is like, okay, if you're really paying attention, you're starting to see albums fade out. But if you're in a rock band, it takes years. Sometimes it takes 1.5 years to 2 years to create that perfect album to put it out to the fans, you know. So that makes a lot of sense what he just said.
Yeah, and Chazz, to add to that, from your A&R background, what are you seeing? Is it also about singles now? Are albums dying, and are mixtapes doing well?
Well, from what I've seen so far with all the CDs that I've released or hosted, Bishop made a nice point to me probably about a week ago. People have a short attention span. So basically, if you do an album, it's usually one group, and unless they have a huge following, most people won't listen to maybe 1 or 2 tracks. For where if you do a mixtape, you have several different artists on there. So now they can get a variety of different music, different styles, different flows, and all of that stuff. And that's what I've seen. Basically, I came out of the woodwork by releasing a CD with artists from overseas and, you know, all over the U.S. And people were all over it. They're talking about, man, where did you find these guys? And I'm going like, you know, they just came to me. But just like Bishop says, a short attention span on music. So if you've got an artist that does a certain type of flow, as far as hip hop or rap or anything in that type, people will listen to 2 or 3 songs on it, and then they're throwing the CD in, you know, to the corner there and putting somebody else in versus a mixtape of course, or an EP, they possibly listen to the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, I think that the album kind of, the importance of the album is the fact that we can get to showcase our dedication to our craft.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you know, we get a collection of songs that we hopefully own as our own material.
Right.
And as far as yeah, you know what I'm talking about, man. Publishing and copyrights, you gotta own your own material.
Yes,
I
that is
say that all
true.
the time. I say that all the time.
And as far as mixtapes, it's more like, okay, I can be flexible now, I can experiment, and sometimes the mixtape helps you practice and kind of get your craft right. The mixtape is more flexible and breaks more rules, and that's why I'm doing my mixtape.
Well, actually, to go on that deal, I've been beating people upside the head because they don't have copyrights on their music when I do a mixtape. Because they never know where it's gonna go. It could end up on the radio. Somebody may pick that song out. Next thing you know, they're the next one-hit wonder. But they didn't get they got non-exclusive rights on the doggone song, and now here comes a producer or whatever hitting them upside the head because they didn't take the correct steps. So I mean, you know, it's two sides to that story there.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's
That's
a hit
true.
or miss. It's a hit or miss.
I also heard the guy that did the Jay-Z White Album mixing it with the Beatles. It started off with a buzz, then it became a problem, then the label was like, you know what? Let's just make this official. Let's make a deal with this guy, and I think that they put it out anyway.
Right. Well, see, that's the correct way to doing it. Actually, if you got, let's say you came out with a track, and I said, hey, that sounds pretty hot. Let's get on it. We did a mixtape of it, and of course, instead of you blowing up and going like calling out the lawyers, okay, depending on the buzz that it got, now we're gonna collab on another one, and we both be able to eat versus stirring up a whole bunch of crap for nothing.
Yeah.
Well, basically, it's a business at the end of the day, regardless.
Right.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's business. As an artist, if you're trying to get into this business, you need to attack it in a business form. You can't just go in there being like, I'm just an artist. You need to make sure paperwork is proper. You need to make sure everything about you is okay, just in case you get that opportunity. What did Eminem say? You only get one shot. What if that is your shot? What if that is your shot on that mixtape? What if it is that your shot, somebody sees you at an open mic? You have to take this seriously as a business, regardless of everything else, okay? So that's just what it all boils down to. This is a business, regardless.
Brilliant. I think we should leave it there. I think that's an amazing note to leave it on. But thanks so much, guys. There's been loads of amazing advice there on so many different topics, and I'm sure the rappers that have been and producers that have been listening in will find this really valuable, also watching it on YouTube later. So just like to say thanks again to Calvin, to Chazz, to Senga, to DJ Overflow, to Greg, although he was muted, to Joe, and to Bishop. Thanks all so much. And guys, do you want to be involved in next week's Hangout? Be great.
Yes, sir. You already know.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, sounds good, man.
Great. Yeah.
Only way you get rid of me if you kick me out.
Great fun. It's really informative. And just to let you guys know, I'm going to be editing the videos down to make useful sort of materials for the guys in the Twine community. So
sweet.
Please share those once. I'll send you the links once they're done.
Nice.
Nice one.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Have a great week. And next Friday, I'm going to talk about forming groups, rap collectives, bands, and the difficulties of keeping those going and writing good music. So,
excellent.
I'll have some input on that. All the bands I played in.
They never end well. Let's put it that way.
Amen.
Yeah, that next week. But yeah, and we should have some more special guests along, so it should be really great. But anyway, have a great week, guys, and take care. Have a good one.
Take it easy.
Thanks, and back at you. Take care.
Peace.